waters are fast-moving.
Unlike other big rallies,
Cockpit earlier at about 7 a.m. A group from the Coast Guard.
Welcome to #PHVote 2013.
Today on Rappler, the Justice Secretary says even if Gigi Reyes admits her role in the pork barrel scam, it won't automatically qualify her as state witness. Senator Miriam Santiago asks the Senate to summon Gigi Reyes and reopen the probe into the pork barrel scam. And South Korea's president says the action of the sunken ferry's crew are, quote, tantamount to murder.
Hello, I'm Maria Ressa. Welcome to Rappler, your social news network. Does the return of Gigi Reyes, implicated in the pork barrel scam, mean more concrete evidence against Senator Juan Ponce Enrile? Whistleblowers say Reyes received kickbacks on behalf of her former boss, Enrile, who's accused, along with other lawmakers, of diverting public money to fake NGOs in exchange for kickbacks. But for Justice Secretary Laila de Lima, the most valuable testimony comes from alleged scam mastermind Jaene Zaplan. De Lima says even if Reyes admits her role in the corruption scandal, it won't automatically qualify her as a state witness. She adds, if there's anybody who would tell all, it would be Mrs. Zaplan. I would be more interested in her more than anyone else. Reyes arrived in the Philippines from San Francisco Saturday. She says she's ready to face the charges filed against her. She left the Philippines in 2013, shortly after being implicated in the scandal. Senator Miriam Santiago asks the Senate to summon Gigi Reyes and reopen its probe into the pork barrel scam. Senate Blue Ribbon Committee Chair T.G. Gingona earlier released a partial report recommending plunder charges against Senator Juan Ponce Enrile, Senator Bong Revilla, and Jinggoy Estrada for allegedly stealing millions of public money. On Monday, Santiago asks Gingona to invite Reyes to a Senate hearing and reopen the probe. Reyes is Enrile's former chief of staff. The senator adds, I believe that the testimony of Attorney Reyes would serve to round off and clarify certain aspects of the partial report. But Santiago warns Enrile could be quietly moving to convince Reyes not to betray him. Enrile critic Senator Sonny Trillanes says, quote, love and loyalty may prevent Reyes from turning against her former boss. Reyes is accused of signing documents to facilitate the release of Enrile's public funds to fake NGOs. Senate President Franklin Drilon's approval ratings dramatically improve in a new survey by Pulse Asia. From 43% in December, Drilon's ratings jumped 15 percentage points to 58% in March. Pulse Asia Chief Research Fellow Ana Tabunda says Drilon is only regaining points he lost in the December survey, where he dropped 7 percentage points from September. Tabunda says this was because of Drilon's hesitation to call alleged pork barrel scam mastermind Jaene Zaplan to a Senate investigation. While Drilon's ratings improved, the Senate drops 4 percentage points from 45% in December to 41% in March. The same survey shows President Benigno Aquino and Vice President Jejomar Binay continue to enjoy approval of the majority. Aquino's approval rating is at 70%, while Binay gets 87%. The Bangsamoro Transition Commission completes the final draft of the proposed law for a new political region in Mindanao. But not all commissioners signed the draft law. 2 did not attend the signing ceremony, while Mindanews reports 2 others signed the draft law with reservations. The basic law will be submitted to President Benigno Aquino for review before it's sent to Congress for deliberations. Rappler earlier reported some members nominated by the government were unhappy that some protocols were ignored. A source says one of the issues involved transparency about how the commission decides on the contents of the basic law itself. In an interview with Mindanews, Commission Chair Mohagar Iqbal denies the basic law was railroaded. He says the document, quote, passed through all levels of deliberations and decision-making. The crafting of the basic law marks the implementation phase of the peace process in Mindanao following the signing of the comprehensive agreement on the Bangsamoro on March 27. Malacanang begins preparations for the official visit of U.S. President Barack Obama to the Philippines. The world leader will visit Manila from April 28 to 29, part of his trip to 4 Asian nations. A week before the visit, Palace Communications Secretary Sunny Coloma says Obama's itinerary is still being discussed with the U.S. State Department. Defense and security are expected to be on top of the agenda during the meeting between Obama and Aquino. The visit comes in the middle of the Philippines' territorial dispute with China, and as the Philippines and the U.S. finalize a deal that would give Americans greater access to Philippine military bases. The bad news keep coming for Malaysia Airlines. On Monday, a plane with 166 people on board was forced to make an emergency landing after its landing gear malfunctioned on takeoff. Flight MH192 bound for Bangalore, India, turned back to Kuala Lumpur after a tire burst on takeoff. Malaysia Airlines faced its worst crisis with the disappearance of flight MH370 last month. The search for the plane's wreckage continues in the Indian Ocean. Australian officials say 2/3 of the underwater search has been completed, with still no signs of the jet. South Korean President Park Geun-hye blames the crew of the ferry that sank with more than 400 people on board last week. Park hits the failure of the captain and crew to act quickly when the ferry listed and capsized, a decision she calls, quote, tantamount to murder. The president says Captain Lee Jun-suk unnecessarily delayed the evacuation of passengers and then, quote, deserted them by escaping with the crew members. Lee and several crew members face charges of criminal negligence and deserting passengers. Divers recover at least 64 bodies, but at least 238 people are missing. Anger grows in South Korea after a transcript of radio communications between the ferry and Marine Traffic Control is released Sunday. The transcript suggests the evacuation was delayed by panic and indecision as the crew and Marine Traffic Control debated evacuating the sinking ferry. The evacuation order was given 40 minutes after the ship ran into trouble. Nepalese guides cancel expeditions on Mount Everest after at least 13 colleagues died in an avalanche Friday. Grief-stricken guides, or Sherpas, stopped summit expeditions Monday to protest poor pay and welfare provisions. Among the canceled expeditions, the first winged jumpsuit flight off the summit. The avalanche is the worst single accident in the history of the world's highest peak. Tragedy struck as a group of Sherpas hauled gear up the mountain for international climbers waiting at base camp. Another 9 were rescued alive from the avalanche. The cancellations will likely impact Nepal's economy. It relies on tourism for revenue, earning millions of dollars in annual climbing fees from Everest alone. Let's now look at Rappler's Wrap for today, a list of the 10 most important events around the world you shouldn't miss. At number 8, the luxurious apartment of Catholic Cardinal Tarcisio Bertone raises eyebrows in the Vatican. Italian daily La Repubblica reports Bertone's move into a 600 square meter apartment with a 100 square meter roof terrace contradicts Pope Francis' call for a poor church. Bertone's flat would be about 10 times larger than the Pope's apartment next door. Bertone is the Vatican's former Secretary of State. His term under Benedict XVI was highly divisive and marred with calls for his dismissal. Pope Francis dismissed him October 2013. At number 9, Russian lawmaker Vladimir Zhirinovsky takes his comments a little too far. Agitated by a female journalist's question during a press conference, Zhirinovsky reportedly pushed his aide toward the journalist and told him to, quote, start raping her hard and to go kiss her. The Russian Parliament's Ethics Committee says it will investigate Zhirinovsky. And at number 10, good news for Harry Potter fans. In July, Japan is set to open its Harry Potter theme park. It will feature attractions like the Hogwarts Castle and Hogsmeade, similar to the one in Universal Studios in Florida. Universal Studios Hollywood is also set to open the Wizarding World attraction in 2016. For the full top 10, visit Rappler.com's The Wrap. For our social media post of the day, Britain's Prince George is fast becoming an internet darling. In a trip to an Australian zoo with parents Prince William and Duchess Kate, the royal baby plays with an Australian bilby named after him. Bilbies are desert-dwelling marsupials on the endangered wildlife list. This marks George's first public appearance in Australia, 5 days into the family's 10-day tour. Every story on Rappler has a mood meter, which gives you 8 emotions to choose from. You click how you feel and your vote comes down to the mood navigator in the middle of the front page. That crowdsources the mood of the day. It also gives you the top 10 stories that have affected our readers and our viewers the most emotionally. If you take a look, these 10 stories have gotten the most number of votes on the mood meter. Interestingly enough, our top story today is here. You have Gigi Reyes back in Manila to face pork charges. 2% angry, 19% annoyed, 56% happy. The story you just heard, defying Pope Francis, Cardinal Eyes luxury apartment, 15% sad, and a whopping red, 60% angry. That red bringing out the mood that's here, that's gotten the most number, the story that's gotten the most number of votes in the last 24 hours. Russian lawmaker tells aide to rape journalist. Interestingly, 9% amused, a whopping 83% angry. That red bringing out the mood of the day. Today, most people are angry. Well, that is Rappler's newscast for today, Monday, April 21, 2014. Visit Rappler.com and watch our newscast Monday to Friday. Tell us how you feel on our mood meter and help us crowdsource the mood of the day. I'm Maria Ressa. As we say at Rappler, tomorrow begins today.